Mr. Dan Day is not here. Chief, would you mind leading us in prayer? Everybody stand up, please.
We pray with you, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for your blessings. We thank you for this time that we have together here in these chambers to discuss the city of Clinton and matters at hand. We pray that you'll be with these individuals, that they will think carefully about the decisions they make and do what's best for our community. Be with us now and guide us and direct us in Christ's name.
Whether you want to lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. You're welcome, Attorney. All right, now I'll go ahead and consider a motion for approval of the consent agenda. Go ahead and call, I need to go ahead and call to order the regular meeting of the Clinton Hospital Authority, Airport Authority, Solid Waste Authority, and the Clinton City Council. Now I'll go ahead and consider a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second that motion.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Hewland.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
Trustee Rudolph.
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. No action items here for these authorities or the Clinton City Council. Trustee reports, and I guess also councilman reports. Hearing none, city manager's report, Steve.
I have none.
Audience participation regarding these authorities of the regular meeting of the Clinton City Council. Hearing none, consider a motion to adjourn these authorities and the regular meeting of the Clinton City Council.
I'll make that motion. We adjourn those authorities. Second.
Trustee Martinez. I'm sorry. Trustee Hewland.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Rudolph.
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Now on to the regular meeting of the Recreational Authority. Now consider a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Trustee Hewland.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Rudolph.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Action item A, consider appointment of 2 board members to the Golf Advisory Board. Steve, you want to do this?
Yeah, council, you have 2 members on this board. Jack Abbott and Luke Adams have finished their term. Luke has expressed his willingness to serve again. Jack does not wish to serve again. So we bring this in front of you. We do not have any additional names, but and you may want to table it, but we wanted to make sure to get in front of you because their term does end this month. This month.
Any motions made? It looks like I'm going to need to abstain on some of this stuff.
Well, I'd want to make a motion that we go ahead and reappoint Luke Adams. He expressed a desire to be reappointed, so I move that he be reappointed.
I'll second that motion.
Trustee Rudolph.
Yes.
Trustee Hewland.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
And Chairman.
No vote. I know that guy. Because it sounds to me like we probably need to get to work on finding another person to fill Jack Adams' place.
What,
Yeah.
what do they do exactly?
Basically, they advise on all golf course and pro shop operations, make recommendations to the staff and council on projects as well as general operations.
Is that a regular meeting?
People who hang out at the golf course a lot need to find somebody to fill Jack Adams' place. And it seems like it'd be an attractive position.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah.
I just gave you a bunch of names. Maybe we can get in contact with those.
I think it's a good idea. All righty. Trustee reports regarding this particular authority. Hearing none. City manager's report, Steve.
Nothing further.
Audience participation regarding the Recreational Authority. Hearing none. Consider a motion to adjourn the meeting of the Recreational Authority.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Hewland.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Rudolph.
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes, on to the regular meeting of the Public Works Authority. Now consider a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Hewland.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
Trustee Randolph.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Action item A, request authorization to create a pump test on the golf course water well. Steve?
Council, we talked about this at our special work session last Monday. Got some information from PEC. Performed this for $4,700 using our current pump on site to perform this 24-hour test and to provide the data to council on exactly what we're seeing at this location, this well, to determine potential options of water on this location. So brought it back to you, and we recommend we take a look at this well and find out what the information shows us.
And we are correct that there has been no pump test performed on that well in the last, since it's been drilled.
24 hour. And there's been no data provided that we have, information that can tell us anything that they need. So they may have tested it, obviously, during the rehab a few years ago. I wasn't here, but we do not have a full-blown 24-hour pump test for that well.
I think we should go ahead and do the test.
Yes.
Does our pump, is it, I guess, big enough to, how much do we run it now?
I don't know exactly how much. Obviously, we pump into the pond there, and then we pump out for irrigation. Not that often. I mean, obviously, more in the summertime, obviously. Right now, nothing at all, really. So it's, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what it produces in a 24-hour period.
So our golf course superintendent doesn't know, I mean, we don't have an idea of how much it pumps into our irrigation lines right now.
Well, he believes it can produce nearly 500 gallons a minute based on the irrigation itself. But can it sustain a full 24 hours? And what will that truly show us based on the casing and what we needed to look at and what we found out from the other previous test well? That's why they have recommended the full-blown test. He believes it's a very, very good well, but can it sustain, as we saw in some other information, can it sustain a full 24 hours like most are 3 to 4 hours, and that's all they do.
I'm thinking, Herman had mentioned that the pump may have been, is it regulated at this point to a certain pressure and somewhere around 600, that it's somewhere around that particular area?
Yeah, it's below 600, but it is regulated though. He's got to pull the way down because of the pond, it doesn't put strain on the pump, and we don't need to force it as like they did in the past, I believe. So
I thought we replaced that here not too long ago. We pulled some of the casing and
we did some repair to it. Yes, I can't recall exactly, but we were forced with something break, and we were forced to repair some issues there. It's a very good well though, and it services our needs. This will be an interesting test to find out what really is the volume of water in the alluvium near the golf course to determine what our next steps may be if another test well close to it is feasible.
Very interesting.
Did they give you a time frame?
No, I did not get a time frame. Jim got this information to me, and then his wife had to go to the hospital, so he would get back to me later this week, but hopefully in the next week we'll have this done, I hope. So.
PEC staff is going to be
They're going to hire Lane Western to perform the test. They are experts at this particular test that they want to see, the data they want to retrieve.
nobody local can do that.
They don't believe anybody local can perform this, according to what they need for DEQ municipal standards. Now, this is from recommendation from PEC, but they would like to utilize Lane Western. We will hire PEC. They will bring in a third party, which will be Lane Western to provide that.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the pump test on that well.
There's a second.
I'll second it.
Trustee Randolph.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
Trustee Martinez.
Yes.
Trustee Huber.
And the well hasn't been pump tested before.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. I vote yes.
And Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Action item B, looks like we need to move into executives. Yes, sir.
I would ask, I think it'd be appropriate if we move down to item C.
Okay,
And then
yeah.
we move to the executive session.
Okay, Sounds good.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's perfect. Let's go. Yeah, let's go on to action item C, consider ice pigging water tower maintenance proposals. Go ahead, Steve.
I'd like to introduce Public Works Director Stephen Jones, who provided you some information on ice pigging as well as some water tower maintenance plans he'd like to put us on. Stephen?
Okay. I started a little over a year ago, and Arnold Adams had actually started talking to Steve Woodward about our water tower maintenance. And we started having red water around town, so ice pigging became kind of our goal to get that taken care of. But over this year, I've had time to evaluate our towers and take a look at them, such as our tower over on 28th Street. You can see rust is starting to show through. So this is why I have Steve here to speak to you about doing a water tower maintenance program. They would take over total maintenance of painting the inside, outside, cleaning it. If there's damage to it, they would come take care of that. But I'll let him speak to you about that. I contacted Woodward. They use utility services, and they are extremely satisfied with them. Weatherford uses them as well, and I spoke to them. They are happy with the product, with how quick they respond, and the maintenance that they do on their towers. So I will have Steve Woodward speak to you.
It's, as Stephen mentioned, I originally came out and performed an inspection on every one of the city water tanks and towers, finding a number of different types of issues with each one of the tanks, whether it was a coating issue or safety sanitation or security issue. And each one of you should have a copy of that compiled report per tank. This report is based on American Water Works Association's recommendations on how a tank should be inspected. So it's not opinion, it's very decisive in how everything should be looked at. In that, I've made a number of recommendations and then have gone on to provide a solution by which we can actually get the tanks, the work itself done and spread the cost so that it's a little bit more affordable. Our company is the largest water tank maintenance company in the U.S. And we have the ability to spread the cost over a multi-year term. And then we can actually, once that takes place, we assume all future risk and liability for the tower. Okay, so the condition the tanks are in right now, we will get them in like new condition, and then we will maintain them year in and year out as part of this maintenance program that we presented to y'all. This program that I talk about will cover all future coatings, renovations, all future cleanings, inspections, graffiti removal, bullet hole repair. Essentially, you turn it over to us, you don't have to worry about the tanks from that point on. Any issue arises, we come in at no additional cost other than an annual maintenance fee. We fix it, the city will never receive an additional invoice beyond that. Trying to be quick as I can tonight. The spread that we give on the tanks itself is in that. We realized that money was not budgeted this year for the actual tank maintenance. Money was budgeted for the ice pigging. And so our company has tried to kind of manipulate the numbers somewhat so that we could utilize some of the money that was budgeted for the ice pigging portion of the project and just kind of work that in so we could actually capture the tank work this year. In that, essentially, we're utilizing the, well, let me go back to the ice pigging. Stop right there, go to the ice pigging real quickly. The ice pigging, what we intend to do there is it's a sustainable technology where we are utilizing crushed ice. We're injecting it into a hydrant. That under line pressure, the ice is moving through like a glacier through the line, and it is cleaning any of the, not tuberculation, but the sediment, the manganese and iron buildup, any of the loose garbage that could be in the line. We're pushing it out using the ice. We capture it or recover it at another hydrant, so everything that goes in comes out. What we have done in that, you have a number of different locations. We actually calculated about 39,000 linear feet in various locations around town. I've got some maps in there as well. The cost of that totaled $36,000 for that work, and there's a separate proposal in your package that kind of breaks that all down. Again, kind of going back to the tank maintenance, what we've done is we said we're going to come in year one, we're going to take care of the ice picking for the city, get that done right away, so you help improve your water quality. The city will only be invoiced $12,000 of that $36,000. We've utilized the money in the tank side, that other $24,000 on the west tank, so we can actually get it repaired immediately, and improve your water quality issues there. And then as well as install a mixer and do a biofilm cleaning on the airport tank to help improve water quality there. So we'll capture all of that work just immediately. Going into next year under contract, we will actually start renovating the other tanks starting at a specified time next year. And we'll do full renovations, and again, in your packet, we kind of define the schedule by which we'll do those. We will start out with the pedosphere out here, the Highway 66 tank, we're calling it. Do a full interior renovation. We'll do an exterior overcoat, as Stephen mentioned. From the time that I inspected these tanks, which actually has been almost 2 years ago, and these numbers that we're talking about here do represent 2-year-old numbers that we kind of held. But we'll get that tank, that tank has deteriorated considerably since I first inspected it. And so we want to get on that one immediately, springtime, and then we want to get on the Broadway tank, is the next tank we want to try and get on. The interior on that tank, in that report, if you guys spend a little time with it, you'll see that there's a significant amount of structural corrosion taking place and decay. The actual steel is starting to delaminate. So it's pretty critical that we do the work on that pretty immediately. Going back to the west tank, we're seeing some of the same kind of stuff in there, a lot of steel loss, and that's, in my opinion, the most immediate concern at this point, to get that taken care of. But really what we're offering, folks, is we're offering a way where we can come in and get all of the work required on the tanks done, the ice pigging done immediately to improve the water quality, and spread that cost out for you so that you're not incurring that big hit expenditure if you were to spend that money all at once. Any questions?
I do. Simplify this for me just a minute, because this was just brought to us today. So the $36,000 that we had budgeted for the ice pigging this year, at this point, if we entered into some type of contract with you, that would cover the ice pigging and the maintenance on 2 towers.
Actually, yes, the short answer. We would get all of the tanks in the program right now. There would be no expenditure other than that $12,000 on the airport tank and the west tank and the ice pigging.
Then you start on the other tanks.
Right, and what we've tried to do is we try to put it together, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to hold you folks into cost. We're gonna see a cost increase after the first of the year, and we're trying to, again, as I mentioned, it's been 2 years since we've updated the numbers, and so there has been cost increases. We're trying to keep those costs down for you if we can get you in the program before the first of the year. And so what we've done, knowing that you're not under a budget, is we've tried to write the contracts so you have an escape valve. You don't come up with the money before your 2014-15 budget. You're not under contract. You can bow out at the time. However, the east tank and the west tank, we would have them in the program immediately. Does that make sense?
State what you just said.
Essentially, all the tanks will be in the program and under our care immediately upon signing the contract. There will be no cost incurred on the Broadway tank, the 66 tank, the industrial tank, until after July 1. Okay. The west.
Approve that in our budget.
Right, exactly. And that's what I'm saying, we created an escape valve in the contract by which you can do that. The west tower and the airport tank would be in the maintenance program. The work will be done on that, and those would obviously be under
Well, I'll make this comment. This is pretty critical that this be done, and I'll give you a good example. We had a 2 million gallon tank. I think we sold the property.
No, we still don't.
Oh, but anyway, you can see where that tank used to sit. The reason that tank is not there anymore is because we didn't have it maintained.
How have we got about this? Yeah, sorry.
It's critical that we maintain these towers that call, well, you can see what they're saying right here, that 2.5 million gallon tank would cost $3.125 million to replace. I know it's early, they cost about $1 a gallon.
That's correct.
And,
You typically will get a little bit of economy of scale, depending on the bigger size construction, but you're absolutely right.
but if we're having steel inside those tanks deteriorate, we need to get it fixed.
And council, we're actually not going to ask you to approve it tonight. We want you to digest the information. That's the first thing. There are some contract items, working with Brian, he's pointed out we need to work with Steve on too. We need to bring back to clarify that, to make sure to meet city and statutes and some things. We'll do that. But
Well, I was going to suggest
Yeah.
Brian needs to look this over, and make sure that
Absolutely.
we can properly do this for a 5 or 6 year period of time. But I'm just giving my opinion that it does need to be done, because, we're having water issues right now, but we've got to remember one thing, we've got to have a place to put the water.
that's correct.
Well, one of the things, and that's a great comment, one of the things our company has through our, well, we've been in this business since 1963 to buy this type of protection code. And, if you're back when water quality started becoming a big issue, people were saying, we're not concerned about our tank right now, we've got to get our water quality improved. And we realized as a company, when we started looking at it to try and help folks, it is a systemic problem. And that's why the ice skating is a factor, well maintenance is a factor. And as you chase it through, you realize you have to focus on the entire thing. But you're correct, the tank is actually the largest component in it, because that's where the water sits.
What other municipalities do you serve besides Woodward and Weatherford?
Across the country, we take care of 5,000 folks. Here in the state of Oklahoma, we take care of Weatherford, Yukon, El Reno, Shawnee, Miami, Oklahoma, Grove, Oklahoma, Claremore, Benita, Woodward, Byside, Freedom, Fargo, Hennessy, Hardisty, Oklahoma. Essentially, anywhere, and I have a list of more comprehensive list for you guys to digest. Small towns and large towns alike see the value of our program and our ability to spread the costs. Another advantage that folks get from our program, and I kind of fleshed this out with Steve last week or so, our program, because it is an asset management program, the tanks will no longer have to be depreciated in value. So the city will actually retain, when you look at that replacement cost, the city will actually retain that cost from your auditor's report, year in, year out. So you'll no longer have to depreciate the tank. It won't appreciate, but it won't depreciate. And so for the cost of being able to take care of it, it's actually less than what you normally depreciate the asset out. So it's a true asset management program, and these cities and towns see the value of that, because now it puts, you start doing the math on that, you start plugging in about $5 million worth of value to the city's bottom line. And that's huge.
I
Plus,
suggest that we refer this to Ryan, to review the contract, make sure that we can properly do that. But I think that this is something that we need to pursue.
Second?
I'll second.
Trustee Rodoff?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
thank you.
Thanks.
Trustee Huebel?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes, ma'am. Action item B, move into executive session with legal counsel regarding pending litigation regarding the wastewater treatment plant and with Superior Construction. Now consider such motion and to invite Steve with us.
I move that we go into an executive session and invite City Manager Hewitt with us.
I'll second that.
Trustee Huebel?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Rhoda?
Yes.
And Chairman?
We will now consider a motion to move back into regular session.
I'll make a motion, we move back to regular session.
Second.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Rhoda?
Yes.
Trustee Huebel?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Make a motion that we authorize Ryan to attempt to negotiate a settlement in the range of $16,000 to $20,000 for this lawsuit.
Second. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Trustee Rhoda?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Huebel?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes, ma'am. Trustee reports regarding the Public Works Authority?
I do have a few things that I want to talk about for just a few minutes. And I'm gonna try not to get frustrated, but we had our meeting a week ago yesterday to discuss our direction with our water exploration, and I had some very big issues, with the locations that the council was told were gonna be drilled, were not the locations that were drilled. B, the map that we were provided by PEC, the council was provided, and correct me if I'm wrong, any council member, was not the same map that we had to get copied that evening. I want to back up just a little bit and share a little bit of this timeline, because I think it's very important that we understand where we're going, what our plan is, and how are we going to get there. Every Friday, Steve sends commentary to us. On the 15th, he made notice of the fact that the wells, the boring, the geoprobes had been done, and that the test well locations had been determined. Number 1 was by the maintenance farm, and number 2 was in the fairway on the number 1 hole. More specifically, it was not going to be located on Rob Esri's land. That, to me, indicated that from what I'm involved in, those locations were not the ideal locations based on the mapping results and the engineers' evaluations at that time. Now, they may have been sometime later, but nobody on the council knew about it. On Sunday, the 17th of November, there was a social media spot that was put out by City Manager Hewitt that said that the test well on the first test well had been completed and that it had minimal yield, and we were going on to the second location. The very next morning, on the 18th, he has a radio show every Monday morning. That radio show, he talked about the well and about its production and certain things. And at this time, there isn't anybody, and correct me if I'm wrong, council, we've never been notified about the production, about any of that, about the well, the very first test well by the maintenance farm. We have our first notification on Tuesday night of the 19th. The Tuesday night of council meeting that week. The following day, that is when the email was sent to us regarding that we were going to not drill anymore, and that we were going to basically look at our direction and make sure that we're all on the same page. I feel wholeheartedly that if the engineering firm believed that drilling a hole test well, in which Mr. Roberts stated on Monday of last week that the hole number 11 was the best possible location. If he's an engineer, if PEC is a quality engineering firm, they would want to drill there and find us water. They're not going to go drilling over here if they have the best interest of our community at hand. In the same sense, I don't know how these locations got determined on number 1 hole in over by the maintenance barn, but unlikely because they would not create as big a footprint and mess. So I'm saying this in all sincerity. We as a council, we have an issue. We are 3 years into this. We're no closer today, in my humble opinion, than we were 2 years ago when I came on council. We've gone from all kinds of different directions. I want to know what is our plan from our CEO. I want to know why every time I turn around, I feel like we're playing politics with 9,500 people's livelihood. We don't find water, and I understand being calm and having a long-term plan, I understand that. But we've waited 36 months, and I've yet to see anything of substance. And what really is frustrating is if we are not giving our citizens the best chance to succeed with PEC or with our CEO, I'm disappointed. And I think we need to take a step back and actually look at that. I'm not afraid to say that this has really caused me a lot of concern. I've lost a lot of sleep over this. We're not playing politics. We're not playing it's going to create a mess. When the river gets out, Steve hasn't been here when the rivers got out, but when the river gets out and floods that entire backside, it creates a mess. A lot more mess than drilling a water well would create. And that's all I'm saying is that I think we really need to set back and define our direction and get our plan, whichever way it is, and figure it out. We've got a lot of open ends, and I'm open to discussion. And I'm just saying that in my heart of hearts, I feel like there's something not right about this situation. Genuinely not right. We got the tail wagging the dog. And we can't do that. We cannot continue to do that.
Okay.
What is it, my understanding that if we do this test and it shows up 500 gallons a minute plus, we're going to go ahead and try the test well on the 11th fairway where they recommended?
Well, once we get the information, I want to bring it back to council. You know, I mean, and then we'll decide at that point in time what the direction is. I mean, 3 things about this issue. It's cumbersome, it's complex, and it's expensive. I can't change that. We've looked under every rock, looked under every inexpensive way to do it, the quickest way to do it. If it was really easy, it'd been done. As for Councilman, Trustee, I think we're from the Public Works Authority, Trustee Hewlin's comments, I made these statements, and I'll do it again. I am hired to make tough decisions, and I'll make those tough decisions. If you do not like them, I apologize. I'm here to work with you. They provide, I think you misunderstood the engineers and geologists. They provided you a guideline of where they were going to try to drill, try to probe. Got out there working with the superintendent. You are absolutely correct. Try to make a small footprint and to create minimal damage. Felt like they actually made the recommendation to me, let's not damage number 11 until we see another test well at a different location. I totally agree with them. I made that call. I'll make it again. You have listen, I'm not gonna get into a war of words. I'm not playing politics. I'm just trying to get it done. If you don't like the way I'm getting it done, you guys have the ability to make any changes you want. I've got a contract, we can deal with that. Listen, my family turns the tap on, wants to take a shower, wants to drink every day. We're all affected by it. And I'll leave it at that. And we're trying our best.
Yes, sir. Anybody else?
The only thing I noticed this month, we're down on the overage, particular dollars, down to $66,000. I think that's the cheapest I've seen.
In on a positive note, yes, sir.
Cheapest I've seen this year.
Yes. That's a good deal. All right, city manager's report, Steve, anything else?
Yes, one additional item, council, actually trustees. We did receive the Altivia check for the damage at the water treatment facility Wednesday, $499,000. It has been receipted. I've scheduled a meeting with Severn Trent, Jeremy Brush, Stephen Jones, myself next week. Begin looking at rehab in that facility and what our next priorities will be for that facility. Once we get that, we'll bring a report back to council. That's all I have for the public works board.
Yes, sir. Well done on that project, in my opinion. Audience participation. All right, seeing none, consider a motion to adjourn the Public Works Authority meeting.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Trustee Human?
Yes.
Trustee Rudolph?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes, ma'am. On to the Industrial Authority agenda. Now consider a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Trustee Human?
Yes. Sorry.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Rudolph?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes, ma'am. Action item A, consider staff recommendation regarding the Robinson Addition roadway bid. Mr. Hewitt.
We recommend the bid by surplus.
I think that based on what I've seen from the large bids, when we bid the whole project, this is very reasonable. I would make a motion to approve this bid.
You came in under budget, right?
They're right on budget with this particular, we are under budget right
We're
now.
about 100,000 under budget, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly the number, Don, but we still obviously have to do the lift station, but we're very close. We are under budget, though, yes, you're correct.
Good job. Second, for Don's motion?
I'll second that motion.
Trustee Rudolph?
Yes.
Trustee Human?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes, ma'am. Action item B, consider change order number 3 with Mega Contractors for the fire station. Steve.
Council, there's some cracking with concrete in the admin area. Read my commentary. Structural engineer states it's not structural, but it is a cosmetic, and it is not acceptable. They did provide us, we were going to make them remove that concrete. That would have created an issue, we believe. I hate to use this term again, a mess, but no pun intended. But trying to alleviate this issue, we actually, working with the chief and the architects, believe we can ceramic tile this for this price and work with local contractors to do that. So we recommend, we'll take this off the contract. This will be a credit to the city, and we will work with local contractors to get ceramic tile put throughout the admin area.
That makes sense, because when they start tearing the concrete out, it's probably going to not be the same color.
It will not.
And we need to get in.
Yeah, it'll look bad more.
Yeah, we need to get in. I think that's a good plan. I move that we just approve the change order.
We have a second? Anybody?
I'll second it.
Trustee Rudolph?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Human?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes, ma'am. Trustee reports regarding the Industrial Authority agenda, or Industrial Authority?
Where are we at on the water, on the utility services to Robinson and to Keaton's?
We expect Fauber is going to work first on the sewer line for the motel, which is on Chapman. Obviously, due to the timing, want to get in before the Chapman Road project, as well as Keaton's need for the motel. That's happening pretty, Stephen, we expect that pretty quick.
Yeah, we're waiting on manholes still for the sewer line.
Okay.
But sewer line will start first, and I talked to Igo yesterday, so.
asked for Robinson Edition. Spoke to Joe Ridley. DEQ required some additional information, so although we've got the bids ready to go, we cannot start until we get final DEQ permit back for you guys to approve, but Joe had to finalize some things for DEQ, and I found that out yesterday. So hopefully he'll get that wrapped up, and DEQ will provide that for you so that Baller can begin that. But Baller's starting over there first, so it's not going to be a timing issue.
Okay. Thank you.
Is this sewer line gonna run from the Holiday Inn Express up there, or is it gonna run right on the north side of Chapman, or?
North side of Chapman, connected to the main, it's very, I'm not sure how far down it is, it's on the map, it's nearly 3,000 feet, correct, Stephen, 3,000 feet? Is that
Yeah.
30-some thousand, I mean, 3,300 or something, but, yeah, it's pretty far down there. Past, just before, just past your, Tension Pond area, so that's where it connects, and runs up the north side.
City manager's report?
One additional thing, I put a letter on your desk from, I just received this, from, it's just a letter to you, Mayor, but I made copies to everybody. Norman Seaberg, he's the gentleman that wants to put the subsidized housing north of town, between here and Arapahoe. Just food for thought. Don't have at this point, I do not have a recommendation or anything, or bring anything back to you. Just here's information, the first written correspondence I received from the gentleman when he came to you.
Is he thinking about moving from the county to the city?
No, he has not made that. He is looking from his small conversation with me, he'll take this 10 acre, 11 acres and build 40 homes, single family, and he'll have a lagoon, and he has roads, and he has his own separate, all separate out there. He would like city water, but he is not, he has to get a resolution approved in some in-kind or cash or something from the county first before he talks to us.
Okay. Audience participation? Hearing none, consider a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Trustee Human?
Yes.
Trustee Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
Trustee Rudolph?
Yes.
And
Ms. Mayor.